tonight we want to talk to you about just how does emotional intelligence play a role here? How can you be smarter about your emotions? Don't we just experience emotions? I want to show you how much more powerful we can be about our emotions, how we can choose our emotions and change our emotions. And Kathy and I will demonstrate that tonight through some conversations. As you look at the slide up on top, I want to make a point that this is not just a good idea. There's some science here. The field of emotional intelligence is actually a scientific body of knowledge that's been produced by a person named Peter Salovey, who's the provost at Yale University. Peter and some colleagues asked that I help them some years ago work with this model to make it useful. I have an ability that allows people to take something that's theoretical and apply it. So what I want to do is show you how that works today. What I would tell you is that we don't all have the same abilities. This is an ability-based science that describes, first of all, can you identify how you feel? Do you know right now how you're feeling? Do you know how the person's feeling beside you? A lot of us might think we know, and some of you would be right, others wouldn't. And none of us would know which of you that is. The other thing that's really interesting is this idea of use of emotions. This is really exciting to me. This is where what they've discovered is that we can actually plan emotionally how we want to feel, and that certain emotions are better than others for specific tasks. So depending on what we're trying to achieve, we can decide what emotion would be most useful and then plan for how to make us feel that way. Not just us, but others as well. So we have identify, which is what are people actually feeling? Use of emotion, which is the way I think about it, what would be ideal based on what we're trying to get done. And often there's a gap between what is and what would be ideal. So this idea of an emotion roadmap is to say, how do we get from what is to what's ideal? You know, I have to talk to you about something, Mama. The police department, after that last time, they asked me to talk to you about not driving anymore, Mom. And I'm wondering, what do you think about that? Because I know how important it is to you, and I don't know what our choices are. Have you thought about it at all, Mom?
Yes, I have, and I'm not giving up my independence. It's the same thing giving up my license.
You don't want to give anything up?
No, I don't.
What the police said to me was, going up the highway, obviously, Mom, that was pretty scary, and it wouldn't be just you, it would be others, and of course I care about you, but there's also other people might be injured as well, Mom.
No, I was scared too, believe you me. But it really wasn't my fault. Did they tell you about the way the cones were set up in the road? It was so confusing. There's a couple here, but then there's some over here. I don't know which way to turn.
Well, they did talk a little bit about the cones, Mom, but I was talking about the highway. And so the highway was like, you were started up the ramp that was the exit ramp. And that's when the police, remember the siren went off and he stopped you and he pulled you over? Right. I mean, Mom, that was really scary. Somebody coming the other way could have hit your head on.
That's true. I mean, maybe I can just go slower, and then, I'll be able to watch out for people better, and I'll be able to make I'll stop before I get on the highway to make sure I get on the right entrance.
Mama, one of the things I thought about was maybe you should. The situation is a monthly review of a new caregiver in your parents' home. You've hired the woman who has performed reasonably well. Your parents seem happy with her, but you feel some more energy and time needs to be spent keeping the home neat and clean. So, consider the facts. The parents are basically happy. So they've accepted somebody into the home. You, on the other hand, feel as though, you know what, my mom always kept the place really neat and clean. It doesn't look the same. So I'm a little concerned every time I come in because it doesn't look clean to me. Looks kind of neat, but it doesn't look clean. But do I have the conversation?
No. Get over it.
Well, exactly. That's one of the things I have to consider, right? Maybe it's not about how clean it is. And the fact that they've got somebody that they're trusting, that they like, that's really helpful in the house, or I find a way to have the conversation that's not intrusive, that's non-confrontational, that gets the house cleaner. But maybe I have to give something else up to get that to happen. So one of the things I want to just ask you to consider, whether you have the conversation or you don't. Because at some point, you will have conversations like these.